We're counting down the 25 British poor man sandwiches your grandparents ate to survive. These humble creations, pressed between slices of bread that cost pennies, fueled workers through long shifts, kept children quiet through lean weeks, and turned empty cupboards into something resembling a meal. From the stark simplicity of dripping smeared on yesterday's loaf to the ingenious stretching of a single tin of paste across an entire family, each entry reveals the creativity born of necessity in post-war Britain. Expect surprising fillings, regional pride, and flavors that speak of times when a sandwich was not a luxury, but a lifeline. Which forgotten favorite claims the top spot? Let us begin our countdown with number 25. Number 25. The mustard sandwich stood as the sharpest proof that British families could make a meal from almost nothing. When cupboards held little more than a jar of Coleman's and half a loaf, housewives spread the fiery yellow paste thin across bread, folded it shut, and called it dinner. In the early 1950s, a tin of Coleman's mustard powder cost just sixpence and lasted weeks, making it one of the most economical fillings a family could keep on hand. The heat hit the tongue first, sharp enough to bring tears to the eyes, followed by a slow burn that warmed empty stomachs on cold evenings. Children learned quickly to request less, while fathers who worked the docks or factories swore the heat kept them alert through long shifts. Oral histories from Birmingham recall the mustard sandwich as the last resort before payday, a meal that required nothing but nerve and a strong constitution. Ministry of Food leaflets never promoted it, but families passed the trick quietly between neighbors when rations ran thin. Today, the mustard sandwich has vanished from the British table, remembered only by those who tasted necessity at its most unadorned. Number 24. The lard sandwich arrived on plates when even dripping was a luxury saved for Sunday's memory. Housewives bought blocks of pale, flavorless lard for just threepence a pound in the early 1950s, spreading it thick on bread when nothing else remained in the larder. The texture was waxy, the taste almost absent, but the fat filled bellies and silenced hunger in homes where every farthing counted. In mining villages across South Wales and Yorkshire, children carried lard sandwiches to school wrapped in brown paper, their lunches indistinguishable from their classmates in both appearance and resignation. Diaries from the era speak plainly of the meal. Lard again. No complaints. Better than nout. The sandwich required no preparation, no cooking, and no imagination. Only acceptance. Mothers stretched a single block across the week, scraping the paper clean before discarding it. For many, the lard sandwich marked the lowest point of the weekly menu, the meal that came when all else had failed. Yet it kept families fed through strikes, shortages, and the long grey stretch between paydays. Its memory lingers not with fondness, but with respect for the quiet endurance it demanded. Number 23. The onion sandwich brought tears to kitchens long before it reached the table. Housewives sliced raw onions thin, layered them between bread spread with margarine, and served them to families who had learned not to expect more. In the early 1950s, onions cost just 2p a pound, making them one of the cheapest vegetables at the greengrocer's stall. The sharp, pungent bite cut through the blandness of wartime bread, offering flavor when little else could. Children wrinkled their noses at the smell, but mothers insisted the onion was good for the blood, a claim repeated in kitchens from Glasgow to Cardiff. Some families added a shake of salt or a splash of vinegar, but most ate the sandwich plain, the raw crunch a reminder that even the humblest ingredient could fill a gap. Oral histories recall the onion sandwich as a fixture of Wash Day Monday, when the copper boiled and there was no time for cooking. The smell lingered on breath and fingers, marking those who had eaten it as surely as any badge of class. Today, the raw onion sandwich has all but disappeared, its memory preserved in stories of thrift and the sharp sting of making do. Number 22. The brown sauce sandwich became the quiet companion of the British working class, a meal that asked for nothing but a bottle of HP sauce and 2 slices of bread. By the mid-1950s, HP sauce had earned its place in nearly every kitchen cupboard, its tangy, vinegary sweetness offering flavor when the larder held little else. Housewives spread it thick or thin depending on how far the bottle needed to stretch, the dark slick soaking into soft, white bread. Children who arrived home from school to find only bread and brown sauce learned to accept it without complaint, knowing that payday would bring better things. The sandwich required no cooking, no preparation, and no apology. It was simply what was available. Oral histories from the Midlands recall the brown sauce sandwich as a tea-time staple, eaten standing at the kitchen counter or carried to the allotment in a coat pocket. The taste, sharp and sweet with a hint of tamarind, lingered long after the last bite. For many, it was not a meal to be proud of, but neither was it one to be ashamed of. It was survival, bottled and spread, a reminder that flavor could be conjured from almost nothing. Number 21. The beetroot sandwich stained fingers and tablecloths across Britain, a vivid purple reminder of the power of pickled vegetables to stretch a meal. Housewives bought jars of pickled beetroot for just a few pence, slicing the earthy rounds thin and pressing them between bread spread with butter or margarine. The juice bled through, turning the bread pink and soft, a sight that divided families as sharply as any filling. Children either loved or loathed the sweetness, the vinegar tang cutting through the dense crumb. In the early 1950s, beetroot was one of the few vegetables available year-round, preserved in jars that lined pantry shelves from autumn to spring. The Ministry of Food praised the root for its iron content, urging families to eat it regularly. The sandwich became a fixture of packed lunches, carried to factories and schoolyards in grease-proof paper that did little to contain the stain. Oral histories recall the telltale purple fingers of children who had eaten beetroot sandwiches, a mark of thrift visible for hours. Today, the beetroot sandwich survives mostly as a curiosity, its memory tied to a generation that learned to find nourishment in the humblest of jars. Number 20. The potted meat sandwich brought the concentrated taste of the butcher's scraps to tables across Britain. Housewives queued for small glass jars of potted beef or ham, their contents a dense, salty paste made from offcuts and spices, costing just a few pence and lasting the week. Spread thin on bread, potted meat offered the illusion of protein when fresh cuts were beyond reach. The texture was smooth, almost greasy, the flavor intense enough to carry even the driest slice. In the early 1950s, brands like Shipham's and Prince's filled corner shop shelves, their labels promising goodness from the humblest ingredients. Children learned to scrape the jar clean, knowing that waste was not tolerated. Oral histories from the East End recall the potted meat sandwich as a regular fixture of tea time, eaten with a cup of weak tea and a sense of resignation. The paste stretched further than any slice of ham, feeding families when the ration book offered little else. For many, the taste of potted meat is inseparable from the memory of making do, a filling that spoke of thrift rather than pleasure. Today, potted meat survives on supermarket shelves, but its place at the center of the British sandwich has long since faded. Number 19. The sardine sandwich carried the briny taste of the sea into kitchens far from any coast. Housewives prized open flat tins of sardines, mashing the small silver fish with a fork before spreading them on bread. In the early 1950s, a tin cost just sixpence and fed several mouths, making sardines one of the most economical sources of protein available. The smell, strong and unmistakable, divided households as sharply as any filling. Children wrinkled noses, mothers insisted on the goodness of fish oil, and fathers ate without comment, grateful for a meal that required no cooking. The bones, soft enough to chew, added calcium, a fact repeated in Ministry of Food pamphlets urging families to embrace tinned fish. Oral histories from coastal towns and inland cities alike recall the sardine sandwich as a fixture of packed lunches and hurried teas. The oil soaked through bread, leaving grease spots on brown paper wrappings. For many, the taste of sardines is tied to the memory of post-war thrift, a filling that sustained but rarely delighted. Today, the sardine sandwich has largely vanished from British tables, its memory preserved in the stories of those who learned to find nourishment in a tin. Number 18. The fish paste sandwich stretched a single jar across an entire week, feeding families when fresh fish was a distant memory. Housewives spread the pale pink paste thin on bread, its flavor a faint echo of the sea, salty and vaguely fishy. By the mid-1950s, jars of fish paste from brands like Shipham's cost just a few pence and occupied a permanent place on pantry shelves. The texture was smooth, almost slippery. The taste mild enough to appeal to children who refused stronger fillings. Oral histories recall the fish paste sandwich as a staple of school lunches, carried in grease-proof paper and eaten at wooden desks. The smell, subtle but persistent, marked those who had eaten it. Mothers measured each spreading with care, knowing that the jar needed to last until payday. Ministry of Food campaigns praised paste sandwiches as economical and nutritious, though most families needed no encouragement to embrace them. For many, the fish paste sandwich was neither loved nor hated, simply accepted as part of the weekly routine. Its memory lingers as a testament to the quiet ingenuity of post-war kitchens, where a single jar could mean the difference between hunger and a filled belly. Number 17. The meat paste sandwich offered the ghost of a roast in jars that cost pennies and lasted days. Housewives spread the dense, salty paste on bread, its flavor a concentrated memory of beef, chicken, or ham, depending on the label. In the early 1950s, meat paste was a cupboard staple, its long shelf life and low price making it ideal for families stretching rations to their limit. The texture was thick, almost gluey, the taste intense enough to carry even stale bread. Children ate meat paste sandwiches without complaint, knowing that the alternative was often nothing at all. Oral histories from industrial towns recall the paste as a fixture of packed lunches, its screw-top jars reused for buttons or screws once emptied. The sandwich required no cooking, no preparation, and no imagination, only a knife and a steady hand. For many, the taste of meat paste is inseparable from the memory of making do, a filling that spoke of thrift rather than abundance. Today, meat paste survives on supermarket shelves, but its central role in the British sandwich has long since faded, replaced by fillings that promise more, but often deliver less. Number 16. The Spam sandwich arrived on British tables courtesy of American generosity and wartime necessity. Tinned and pink, Spam filled the gap left by rationed meat, its salty, slightly sweet flavor becoming familiar to millions. By 1945, over 100 million tins had crossed the Atlantic, and the sandwich made from it became a fixture of post-war kitchens. Housewives sliced the dense loaf thin, frying it when fat was available, or serving it cold when it was not. The texture was firm, almost rubbery, the taste unmistakable. Children learned to accept Spam without question, knowing it was better than the alternative. The tin, once emptied, was saved for storing nails or seeds. Ministry of Food leaflets offered recipes for Spam fritters, Spam salads, and Spam hash, but the sandwich remained the simplest and most common use. For many, the taste of Spam is tied to the memory of rationing, a filling that sustained a nation through its leanest years. Today, Spam survives as a nostalgic curiosity, its place in the British sandwich all but forgotten. Number 15. The corned beef sandwich stood as the most enduring legacy of Britain's reliance on tinned imports. Housewives prized open blue-labeled tins shipped from Argentina, slicing the dense, salty meat and pressing it between bread. By the early 1950s, up to 200,000 tons of corned beef arrived on British docks each year, filling cupboards when fresh meat was beyond reach. The texture was firm, slightly crumbly, the flavor intense and unmistakably metallic. Children ate corned beef sandwiches at school, the pink slices visible through grease-proof paper. Mothers stretched a single tin across several meals, knowing its value as a reliable fallback. The sandwich required no cooking, only a steady hand with the tin opener and a tolerance for the sharp smell that filled the kitchen. Oral histories recall the corned beef sandwich as a fixture of packed lunches and hurried teas, eaten without enthusiasm, but with gratitude. For many, the taste of corned beef is inseparable from the memory of post-war thrift, a filling that sustained but never delighted. Today, the corned beef sandwich survives mostly in memory, its place at the center of the British lunch long since claimed by fresher, costlier fillings. Number 14. The cheese sandwich, made with government-issue cheddar, became the reliable backbone of the British packed lunch. Rationing limited cheese to just 2 ounces per person per week in the early 1950s, making every slice precious. Housewives cut the pale, rubbery cheddar thin, layering it on bread spread with margarine. The flavor was mild, almost bland, the texture firm and unyielding. Children carried cheese sandwiches to school, their lunches identical to their classmates in both appearance and taste. Oral histories recall the government cheese as a symbol of rationing, its uniformity a reminder that variety was a luxury few could afford. The sandwich required no cooking, no preparation, and no imagination. Only acceptance. Mothers measured each portion with care, knowing that the weekly ration needed to stretch. For many, the cheese sandwich was neither loved nor hated, simply accepted as part of the weekly routine. Its memory lingers as a testament to the discipline of post-war kitchens, where even the humblest filling was treated with respect. Today, cheese sandwiches remain a British staple, but the memory of rationed cheddar has faded, replaced by a variety that would have seemed unimaginable to those who queued for their weekly 2 ounces. The tomato sandwich brought a flash of color to tables dominated by beige and brown. Housewives sliced ripe tomatoes thin, layering them on bread spread with butter or margarine, the juice soaking into the crumb. In the summer months, when gardens and allotments overflowed, the tomato sandwich became a daily fixture, its freshness a welcome contrast to tinned and preserved fillings. The taste was bright, slightly acidic, the texture soft and yielding. Children ate tomato sandwiches without complaint, grateful for something that tasted of the season. A shake of salt and a grind of pepper were the only additions most families could afford. Oral histories recall the tomato sandwich as a symbol of summer abundance, a meal that required nothing but a sharp knife and a ripe fruit. The juice stained fingers and tablecloths, marking those who had eaten it. For many, the taste of a fresh tomato sandwich is inseparable from the memory of long summer evenings and the smell of warm earth. Today, the simple tomato sandwich has largely vanished from British tables, replaced by more elaborate fillings that often deliver less flavor. Number 12. The pickle sandwich turned a jar of Branston into a meal when nothing else remained in the larder. Housewives spread the chunky, tangy relish thick on bread, its sweetness and vinegar bite offering flavor, when protein was beyond reach. By the mid-1950s, Branston pickle had earned its place in nearly every British cupboard, its distinctive taste a fixture of the national palate. The texture was chunky, the flavor intense, the color a deep, appetizing brown. Children ate pickle sandwiches at tea time, the sharp taste cutting through the blandness of white bread. The sandwich required no cooking, no preparation, and no apology. It was simply what was available. Oral histories from the Midlands recall the pickle sandwich as a regular fixture, eaten when the week's meat had run out and payday was still days away. The jar, once emptied, was washed and saved for storing jam or buttons. For many, the pickle sandwich was not a meal to be proud of, but neither was it one to be ashamed of. It was survival, jarred and spread, a reminder that flavor could be conjured from the humblest of pantry staples. Number 11. The egg sandwich, made with powdered eggs during rationing, carried the memory of the farmyard into kitchens that had never seen a hen. Housewives mixed the yellow powder with water, scrambling or frying it before pressing it between bread. The texture was rubbery, the flavor a distant echo of the real thing, but it filled bellies when fresh eggs were limited to one per person per week. By the early 1950s, powdered egg had become a symbol of wartime necessity, its presence in the larder a reminder of the sacrifices families had made. Children ate egg sandwiches without enthusiasm, knowing that the alternative was often nothing at all. Oral histories recall the distinctive taste of powdered egg, slightly metallic, slightly off, but accepted without complaint. Mothers stretched each packet as far as it would go, knowing that waste was not tolerated. For many, the powdered egg sandwich is inseparable from the memory of rationing, a filling that sustained but never satisfied. Today, the egg sandwich survives in a very different form, made with fresh eggs and mayonnaise, its wartime origins all but forgotten. Number 10. The banana sandwich arrived as a symbol of post-war hope, a taste of the exotic after years of deprivation. When bananas returned to British shores in 1946, after a 6-year absence, children queued with mothers outside greengrocers, eager to taste the fruit they had only heard about. Housewives sliced the yellow crescents thin, layering them on bread spread with butter, sometimes adding a sprinkle of sugar for extra sweetness. The texture was soft and almost creamy, the flavor mild and tropical. For children who had grown up on root vegetables and tinned meat, the banana sandwich was a revelation. Oral histories recall the excitement of those first post-war bananas, the way families shared a single fruit among many mouths. The sandwich became a treat, reserved for special occasions or rewarded behavior. By the mid-1950s, bananas were more widely available, but the memory of their scarcity lingered. For many, the banana sandwich is tied to the taste of recovery, a filling that spoke of better times ahead. Today, the banana sandwich survives mostly as a nostalgic curiosity, its place in the British lunch overtaken by more elaborate options. Number 9. The condensed milk sandwich brought sticky sweetness to kitchens shaped by rationing and thrift. Housewives drizzled the thick, syrupy milk from tins onto bread, folding it shut before the sweetness could escape. In the early 1950s, condensed milk cost just a few pence a tin and lasted weeks, making it one of the most economical treats a family could afford. The texture was dense, almost cloying, the flavor intensely sweet. Children devoured condensed milk sandwiches as eagerly as any pudding, licking fingers and plates clean. Mothers rationed each tin with care, knowing that too much indulgence would mean an empty cupboard before payday. Oral histories recall the condensed milk sandwich as a reward for good behavior, a rare moment of sweetness in weeks dominated by savory thrift. The tin, once emptied, was saved for storing odds and ends. For many, the taste of condensed milk is inseparable from the memory of childhood treats. a filling that promised comfort when little else could. Today, the condensed milk sandwich has all but vanished from British tables, its memory preserved in stories of post-war indulgence. Number 8. The Marmite sandwich divided Britain as sharply as any political question, its intense, yeasty flavor inspiring devotion or disgust in equal measure. Housewives spread the dark paste thin on bread, knowing that a single jar could last weeks if used with care. By the mid-1950s, Marmite had earned its place as a British institution, its distinctive taste a fixture of breakfast and tea-time tables. The texture was sticky, almost tar-like, the flavor salty and deeply savory. Children learned early whether they loved or hated Marmite, their preferences fixed for life. Oral histories recall the Marmite sandwich as a daily staple, eaten before school or carried to work in a coat pocket. The smell, strong and unmistakable, marked those who had eaten it. Mothers measured each spreading with care, scraping the knife clean before returning the jar to the cupboard. For many, the Marmite sandwich is inseparable from the memory of post-war routine, a filling that required nothing but acceptance. Today, Marmite survives as a beloved and reviled staple, its place in the British sandwich as secure as ever, even if opinions remain as divided as they were 70 years ago. The jam sandwich stood as the sweetest answer to an empty larder, a meal that turned a jar of preserves into comfort for hungry children. Housewives spread raspberry, strawberry, or plum jam on bread, the bright colors a contrast to the post-war kitchens. By the early 1950s, jam was one of the few sweet treats available without restriction, its sugar content a rare indulgence in times of rationing. The texture was smooth or chunky depending on the maker, the flavor intensely sweet. Children ate jam sandwiches at every opportunity, licking sticky fingers and asking for more. Mothers made their own jam when fruit was in season, filling jars that lined pantry shelves through the winter months. Oral histories recall the jam sandwich as a fixture of packed lunches and after-school teas, a meal that required nothing but a knife and a steady hand. The sweetness lingered on lips and tongues, a promise that life could still be sweet, even in the hardest times. For many, the jam sandwich is inseparable from the memory of childhood, a filling that spoke of comfort rather than necessity. Today, the jam sandwich survives as a nostalgic staple, its simplicity, a reminder of a time when pleasure came in small, sticky doses. Number 6. The sugar sandwich emerged from the depths of true scarcity, a meal that existed only because nothing else remained. Housewives spread butter or margarine on bread, then sprinkled white sugar across the surface, folding it shut before the crystals could escape. In the leanest weeks, when even jam was gone, the sugar sandwich filled bellies with empty calories and fleeting sweetness. Children ate them without complaint, knowing that the crunch of sugar was better than the ache of hunger. Oral histories from mining towns and city terraces recall the sugar sandwich as the last resort before payday, a meal that spoke of desperation rather than thrift. The texture was gritty, the flavor purely sweet, the satisfaction brief. Mothers measured each spoonful with care, knowing that sugar was rationed until 1953, and every grain counted. For many, the sugar sandwich is tied to the memory of hardship, a filling that sustained but never comforted. Today, the sugar sandwich has vanished from British tables, its memory preserved only in the stories of those who tasted necessity at its most unadorned. Number 5. The toast sandwich stands as perhaps the most peculiar entry in the history of British thrift, a meal so plain it seems almost a joke. Yet Mrs. Beeton's Book of Household Management, first published in 1861 and reprinted through the post-war years, included the recipe in earnest. A slice of toast, seasoned with salt and pepper, placed between 2 slices of buttered bread. Housewives made the toast sandwich when illness struck and appetites flagged, its blandness considered suitable for delicate stomachs. The texture was soft and crisp in turn, the flavor almost non-existent. Children ate toast sandwiches when recovering from fever, the meal a marker of convalescence rather than poverty. Oral histories recall the toast sandwich with a mixture of disbelief and affection, a reminder that British ingenuity could stretch even bread into something resembling a filling. The sandwich required nothing but a toaster and a willingness to accept the absurd. For many, the toast sandwich is inseparable from the memory of sick days and weak tea, a meal that comforted through its very simplicity. Today, the toast sandwich survives mostly as a curiosity, proof that even the humblest kitchen could conjure a meal from almost nothing. Number 4. The crisp sandwich, or crisp butty, became the playful rebel of the British lunch, a meal that turned a packet of crisps into something approaching a feast. Housewives, or more often children left to their own devices, layered ready salted crisps between slices of buttered bread, pressing down until the satisfying crunch echoed through the kitchen. By the mid-1950s, crisps had become a common treat, their salt and fat offering a contrast to the soft blandness of white bread. The texture was gloriously crunchy, then soft, then crunchy again, the flavor salty and deeply satisfying. Children ate crisp sandwiches in secret or in plain sight, depending on the household's rules, the ritual of construction as pleasurable as the eating. Oral histories recall the crisp butty as a symbol of small rebellions, a meal that belonged to childhood rather than necessity. The packet, once emptied, was searched for stray crumbs, nothing wasted. For many, the crisp sandwich is inseparable from the memory of Saturday lunches and school holidays, a filling that spoke of pleasure rather than thrift. Today, the crisp butty survives as a guilty pleasure, its defenders as passionate as ever, proof that some traditions need no justification. Number 3. The chip butty rose from the industrial north to claim its place as the ultimate working-class sandwich, a meal that turned a portion of chips into a feast. Housewives, or more often hungry workers returning from the chippy, piled hot, salted chips onto bread spread thick with butter, pressing down until the fat melted and the bread softened. The smell of vinegar and hot potato filled kitchens and terraces, a signal that tea was served. By the 1950s, the chip butty had become a fixture of Friday nights, when wages were paid and the chip shop queue stretched down the street. The texture was soft and yielding, the flavor salty, tangy, and deeply comforting. Children fought over the crispiest chips, while fathers claimed the largest portions, and mothers made do with what remained. Oral histories from Lancashire and Yorkshire recall the chip butty as a badge of regional pride, a meal that marked out the North from the rest. The sandwich required nothing but hunger and a willingness to embrace the carbohydrate. For many, the chip butty is inseparable from the memory of Friday evenings and the smell of newsprint wrapped around hot chips. Today, the chip butty survives as a beloved classic, its defenders loyal and its critics silenced by a single, perfect bite. Number 2. The dripping sandwich carried the memory of Sunday roast through the rest of the week. It was a meal that turned rendered fat into sustenance for hungry families. Housewives saved every drop of dripping from the roasting tin, cooling it in bowls until it set into a pale, savory jelly. Spread thick on bread, dripping offered the ghost of meat long after the joint was gone, its salty, beefy flavor a comfort in kitchens shaped by rationing. By the early 1950s, dripping was a precious commodity, measured and rationed like any other fat. Children ate dripping sandwiches before school, the dense filling silencing hunger until lunchtime. Mothers scraped bowls clean, knowing that nothing could be wasted. Oral histories recall the dripping sandwich as a daily staple, its taste inseparable from the memory of cold mornings and coal fires. The texture was soft and slightly greasy, the flavor rich with the essence of the roast. For many, the dripping sandwich is tied to the memory of making do, a filling that sustained rather than delighted. Today, the dripping sandwich has all but vanished from British tables, its memory preserved in stories of post-war thrift and the quiet pride of stretching every shilling. And finally, in first place, the bread and butter sandwich claims the crown as the ultimate symbol of British survival. In the leanest times, when cupboards held nothing but a loaf and a scrape of margarine, housewives folded bread over butter and called it a meal. The simplicity was absolute. No filling, no flavoring, nothing but the soft crumb and the faint richness of fat. By the early 1950s, bread remained the backbone of the British diet, with the National Food Survey recording consumption at 4 loaves per person each week. Children ate bread and butter sandwiches without complaint, knowing that even this was a gift when others went without. Oral histories from mining towns and city terraces recall the bread and butter sandwich as the foundation of survival, a meal that required nothing but acceptance. Mothers cut slices thin to make the loaf last, spreading margarine so lightly it barely colored the crumb. The taste was plain, almost absent, but the act of eating was enough to quiet the hunger. For many, the bread and butter sandwich is inseparable from the memory of hardship, a filling that spoke of endurance rather than pleasure. In the darkest weeks, it was all that stood between a family and true hunger. Today, the bread and butter sandwich survives only as an echo, a reminder of times when the simplest meal was also the most precious. Its place at the top of this list is not a celebration of flavor, but a testament to the resilience of a generation that learned to survive on almost nothing.